go to 5 red lights. The lights are off, and away we go. And it seems to be like a pretty good getaway for the top 3. VEXIQA currently in the lead, as Powell seems to get away pretty well. Pretty clean start from all of these drivers, but it looks like the Builderholic is going to go around the outside of the Ferrari, and just gets ahead. I think there's a bit of contact between those two as well, but Builderholic stays in front for now, but probably concedes. Yeah, and Alpine is really sending a dive down the inside there of Seraphi, and is now going to be chasing down the Mercedes. And going side by side is Krankosh and Parasari, and Alamata, sorry, not Beak Duke. Oh, no. Alamata spins out of turn 3. And as we look up back to the front of the pack, VEXIQA 1.1 seconds in front. Powell is going to be maintaining as well and trying to keep the Williams behind a Builderholic. C6 going side by side by Seraphi, as I think Seraphi came off the best there, as C6 goes off the track there, and probably got an illegal overtake of the Alfa Romeo and had to give that back. PREFIRANCE and C6 going side by side once again, and the Krankosh probably was going to have a look down there, but the Aston Martin just goes down the inside of the Mercedes and retakes P6. C6 back down in P7, and probably will have to start looking in his mirrors as Krankosh has had a little bit of a look.
Allowed to battle each other, which is an interesting team call.
I mean, they're both on softs, but down the inside goes PREFIRANCE on the Alfa Romeo and does get it pretty nicely. I think going side by side is C6 and PRT Pistol that will going into turn 1. The McLaren gets through, but will the Mercedes try a dive bomb? No, it doesn't.
He sends it down the inside. The Alfa Romeo, he loses a bit of traction, and he can't make the position stick. Good defending from the Aston Martin, as the Alfa Romeo is going to look for the move again, and he can't get it off. Good defender from the Aston Martin. Pistol managed to get the move done on the Mercedes, probably.
Oh, he goes very wide, and PRT Pistol goes down the inside.
Is he going to fight that move? No, he's not.
Oh, Powell going down the inside of VEXIQA, and the Ferrari's round and breaks his front wing.
Oh, Powell.
And that's a virtual safety car.
Alameda down 4 positions. Krankosh down 7th after, I believe, the incident with Duke and Dredd. As VEXIQA's a drive-through penalty.
Krankosh, I saw, nearly went into the back of Alamata. I think the Ferrari's round again of Powell and in the wall. And he's lost an end plate as well. You think he might actually come into the pits and retire? I'm seeing the Williams and the AlphaTauri having a battle here. As Builderholic and Alamata having a bit of contact. As Builderholic goes round the outside of the AlphaTauri. Has the AlphaTauri done enough to probably try and keep the Williams behind? But no, Builderholic now in P6 and has a bit of DRS to try and pull away from the AlphaTauri.
Let me check if he has damage. I don't think he does.
I just saw Beat Duke going very wide out of turn 4 and then went wide into turn 5, and VEXIQA has got past the Alpine. Is that Powell who's crashed again? It is.
Yeah, into the wall. Looking at the current driver's standings, and C6 is quite comfortably in the lead. So I think regardless of where C6 is now compared to the front 3, he still will remain at the top of the standings. So he won't feel too pressurized to get a result here. But
I'm just seeing a bit of a battle between Seraphi and Pistol.
Obviously, Vex
hold on. Is there a crash at the back there?
There is.
I think Pistol and Seraphi had a bit of contact.
It'll be interesting to see if Vex loses time to Builderholic.
Oh, as VEXIQA goes on the inside of the Mercedes there. Sorry to cut in. As it looks like VEXIQA and Seraphi are going to go side by side into the chicane, and VEXIQA does get past.
Builderholic is right behind them as well.
How did VEXIQA make that move? That was very brave of the AlphaTauri and absolutely sent one. Good move.
Unbelievable driving from both of them.
Builderholic is going side by side with Seraphi in the second sector. Buildaholic goes a little bit wide and has to back out of that one. Oh, and gets a little bit squirrely out of turn 11. Just manages to keep it on the track though, and is still going to try and chase down Serapis. He's going to send one down the inside of turn 13. He is. He gets very close, but he gets the move done into turn 13. Good move. And I think Pistol and Alamata are going to have a bit of a battle here, as the McLaren goes down the inside of the AlphaTauri and is passed before the braking point. And coming up on the AlphaTauri as well, as the AlphaTauri actually tries to re-overtake. VEXIQA is going to get in the middle of this, but the McLaren goes down the inside, protects it, and Alamata goes very wide. As Buildaholic goes for a move down the inside of the AlphaTauri as well, and I think there was a bit of contact.
Yeah, Alamata lost traction. I was just about to say he's lost his rear end, and then you mentioned contact.
And VEXIQA as well is on the back of the McLaren. The McLaren goes defensive. VEXIQA goes down the outside, and the AlphaTauri is past the McLaren. And that is VEXIQA up into P2 as PRT Pistol gets a little bit out of shape coming out of turn 1.
That's 2 laps in a row now. He's gone wide. Maybe that's
Buildaholic is getting very close to the McLaren.
This Pistol keeps going wide on a lot of these corners.
Buildaholic had a great exit out of the final hairpin and was just able to effectively breeze past the McLaren. I will be honest, if the race for Tier 4, as I think there's an Alpine of Seraphi in the wall without a front wing.
Oh.
That's not what he would have wanted.
He's lucky not to be out of the race.
Yeah, very lucky.
He's lost his front wing.
Closest battle out on track is Pistol and Beaked Duke, but with the difference in the tyres, well, actually, saying that, Pistol should actually be on the fresher tyres and is going to go for a move on the inside of the Alpine and gets past the Alpine before turn 1. Up into P4. Well, Preference now within a second. We'll now have the assistance of DRS. Although I think Buildaholic may have had a slight, a slight issue out of one of the corners, as Preference is literally behind the Williams, going to be sniffing that gearbox, and it could be a move down here. Buildaholic goes very defensive. Preference tries to look down the outside, but Buildaholic is just able to manage it. And into turn 13, I think they just decide to keep it clean as of now. Preference is probably going to focus on the exit at turn 14 and maybe look for a move down the main straight. He toggles on ERS for literally a bit, and then he toggles on DRS as well. Going to go down the outside of the Williams. The Williams trying to go very defensive into turn 1. The Aston Martin brakes later. The Williams goes a little bit onto the curb, pushes the Aston Martin a little bit, but the Aston Martin into P2. Well, they don't really seem to be attacking all that much. I mean, we have seen some. Yeah, he has.
Which we missed. If I am correct, the Aston Martin is in favour, as he's now within. He's within 3 seconds. As I don't want to give anyone the dictator's curse, but the Aston Martin, as it stands, has won the race.
As we are on the final lap of the race, Seasick is going to be wanting to make a move on the Alpine. He decides to go outside, and again is just ahead, but the Alpine comes back. And I think the Beat Duke got a little bit of a tap there. I don't think that was C6's fault. I think C6 gave enough enough space. I think Beat Duke maybe just ran into the side of the Mercedes. And now that C6 is passed, we're going to now look to the race leader on track, VEXIQA, but probably won't be the race winner.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Vex.
Around the final corner, VEXIQA comes to win on track, but with 3 seconds worth of penalties, Preference comes and wins the race, wins the Hungarian Grand Prix on penalties. Buildaholic comes home for P3 as well, which rounds off the podium.